right. All right, guys. So, welcome again to the Iconic Life podcast, where we gather at the virtual table for real, soulful conversations about living with intention and purpose, divine purpose. I'm your host, Hannah Elsey. I'm the founder of Agora Wellness. I'm a transformation midwife and a builder of a movement of visionary women who are living lives they're wildly in love with. On our show, when we talk about living iconically, here's what I'm saying when I'm saying that. It's about remembering who you've been created to be and choosing to live from that identity every day, fully and unapologetically. It's saying yes to your divine calling, even when it feels messy or scary. And it's about building legacy and joy and wealth from a place of overflow. It's leading movements, raising families, creating a life alongside what God has created, planned for you. And today we're going to dive a little bit more into that with my guest, Megan Babcock. Megan, thank you so much for joining us today. So, my friend, I don't have a formal introduction for you, so I'm going to give you the stage for a second here. I want you to kind of introduce yourself, what you do, where you are in the world, things like that.
Sure. So I'm Megan Babcock, and I have been a nurse for 23 years. I've worked in lots of different aspects of healthcare, um, most of the time outside of the hospital, which was really cool because I didn't know when I went to nursing school that there was other things that you can do. But now here I am as someone who works as a transformational coach. I also am a business mentor, so helping people to build their businesses. But what I'm really passionate about is seeing women find healing from whatever it is that's been holding them back, because most of the time those things, the lies, the critical narratives, all of those things come from a place of wounding. And
Mm,
so helping people to be brave and get curious to find out what is it that's actually underneath the "I can't do that, that's not for me, that's only for her" kind of thought process.
mm.
And then stepping into who they were created to be. And I believe that our dreams are what were implanted inside of us before we were sent to this world. It's
Yes.
our soul message that says, hey, this is who you are. This is what you were created to be. And so once we know what's holding us back and we really get curious and understand what is it that we've been longing for and dreaming of, we can start building a plan with intentional action to
Mhm.
create the life you love. And just this past July, I wrote my first book, Unstuck, breaking through what's holding you back and creating a life you love. And fun fact, Hannah and I went to nursing school together
Yes, we
all of
do.
those years ago.
Yes, so many years ago, decades ago. Ooh, goodness. Yeah.
I know, it's really crazy. And it was really cool how God just brought us back together.
Mhm.
And we've been able to like encourage each other and walk alongside of each other as we were stepping into something that we just knew we were called into, but didn't really even have like the blueprint for. And so
Yeah.
I'm super excited to have this opportunity to be on your podcast as you have been on mine.
Yep.
It's just so fun to see all that God is doing in you, and just the light that you are to the world is so inspiring.
Thank you. No, it is amazing to see what God is doing here, and I have no. This is only the beginning, right? Like it's so cool to see, for in both your work and mine. Like it's just amazing to see what God's doing. All right. So when we talk about, living iconically, I always like to kind of have you take us back to a moment, maybe a story that you can think of, but that moment when maybe you realized or first realized that you weren't going to continue to live your life on autopilot, that you're going to choose your calling, that dream, that divine dream that's been placed within you. What did that look like for you? What was happening in your life and what shifted
Mm.
inside of you that made you say, I'm gonna step into a different path?
So I'm going to start all the way back to 2007. So that's a long time ago. I was in a Bethmore Bible study called Get Out of That Pit. And Beth Moore, if you've ever followed along with her Bible studies or watched the videos that go along with it, she's super funny. And I remember her talking about her pit and how she was decorating her pit and, hanging pictures on the wall of the pit. And I could so identify, and I took it a step further, like, I was dusting my pit, so if you can only imagine a dirt pit that you're, like, dusting, it's exhausting, right? But in that moment, I really didn't know how to get out of my pit. Like, I realized I was in one in that
Mhm.
moment, but I still even at the end of the study, I didn't really know how to move forward.
Mm.
And at the same time, it was when God told me that you are going to be someone who goes into the darkness of people's pits and pulls them out into the light. Like you are going to snatch people out of the hands of the enemy and bring them to the light. And I was
Wow.
like, I don't even know how that's good. Like that seems so far away and so like impossible. It was like
Yeah.
nice thought. I'm not sure I heard you right. We're just going to keep going. Um I kept going for another 10 years.
Mm.
And it wasn't until the end of 2016, 2017, um, that there were some really hard things, and I had to come to grips that I was in a very unhealthy, marriage. It was, there was abuse involved, and when I was in it, I was so focused on the other person, my
Mm.
husband, like, "You're hurting me, I can never be enough, I'm exhausted." Um, But yeah, I was praying so hard, like, save my marriage, but it wasn't anything that I dreamed of. Like, I had a dream marriage, look more like Disney princess fairy tale, whisking me away on a horse, my Prince Charming. And then there was a situation that I was in. And I remember I was starting my work of uncovering all of this that was keeping me stuck in this pit. And I was going home from a group, meeting, and it was the first time that I was angry with God and let my emotions out. Because growing up, we didn't express our emotions if they weren't
Mm.
like positive. And
Mm.
so I had always just learned to kind of shove those things down.
Mm.
And when I was like, God, why are you not answering my prayer? You said, like, if I pray for things in line with your will, that you're going to answer. And marriage, from everything I could read in the Bible, is in your will. And as soon as those words came out of my mouth, I was like, oh, that was very disrespectful. I felt bad, but I heard this gentle, kind voice that said, I am not an abusive God. And I was like,
Mm.
"What does that mean, God? Like, what are you saying?" And he's like, "Abuse is just taking away someone's free will. And I can't answer a prayer for you that infringes on someone else's free will. Because if this person does not want the marriage, even if it is my best, I can't go against their free will and give you that." And I was like, whoa, this
Wow.
opened my eyes to a very different character of who God is versus the judgmental, you sin, you're kicked out of the garden, consequences to your disobedience. And then came some correction for me. And he
Mm.
said, and you've been abusive too. And I was like,
Wow.
me? I mean, I'm the helper, the healer, the people pleaser, trying to make everything work together for good. And he's like, yes, but you're not honest and you're manipulative in the way you go about people pleasing and trying to make everyone happy while you're not being authentic. And I was like,
Wow.
wow. So I'm trying to get people to meet my needs, and I'm doing it in a way that isn't very honest. So I'm taking that person's free will because I'm trying to get them to do what I want them to do by the way I'm managing the situation. And I was like,
Wow.
wow, okay. But it was so loving and so kind that I didn't feel condemned. And that was the thing that the Lord started showing me is his voice is kind, it's gentle, it's loving. So when you're hearing that condoning, critical, shameful narrative, that is not coming from him. And so from that point, we started on this journey of taking my thoughts captive, placing them under submission of Christ. And I was like, okay, well, how do
Mm,
you do that? And he said, I want you to measure them against the fruits of the Spirit. If they
mm,
don't, you need to replace that thought with truth that's in my scripture. And there's scripture that talks about that we're renewed by the transforming of our mind. Right.
yeah.
And so he took me on this process of just transformation and becoming who he said I was. And I started to learn my identity, and my marriage ended. But it was just the beginning of me leaning in and stepping in intentionally into what he was calling me, and eventually to the love that I had desired from all of those years ago, the love that I wanted when I was a little girl. Um, and he helped me. Curiosity for me is like such a key part of this journey because he started to show
Hmm.
me back where I partnered with the belief that I was not good enough and I would not have a good husband. And
Wow.
by going back into that place and healing in that wound, then guess what? I did have the
It just
husband that
opened
I
up.
believed I
Uh-huh.
deserved because our words and our beliefs are so powerful and create our reality. So
So powerful.
that is
Wow.
the journey I went on to like it came from a really dark, broken place and 10 years of
Yeah.
absolute. Well, if I'm honest, it was 20 years from the really traumatic event that happened when I was 16. And I just kept living out of that trauma because I never healed.
Never healed it. Yeah. Interesting. The things that we, let's say, emotions that are buried alive never die, right? Or the traumas that we bury, they don't
Mhm.
just go away, right? There is
Yeah.
something to be said about bringing things out into the light and doing the work, the healing process to
Mhm.
allow it to make fertile soil for amazing things, right? It's not about, the hard things of life, they can still be for us, not just happening to us. I
Mm.
think that's how I always like to look at it, right? And changing that perspective on that. I always think of it as it's a part of the tapestry, right? The depth to that tapestry is the dark colors that is there, right?
Well,
But it
that's a
makes
beautiful image because when you were talking about fertile soil, I just saw a whole lot of manure. And I was
you're like,
and I was
ew.
like, Um, yeah, that's the crap that actually makes things grow, right?
But
And
yes,
so we
right.
want to avoid all of that when really we need to like just
Dig
embrace
deep
it
into
and
it.
spread it
Right.
out and get comfortable with it and
I actually
see.
love how
So
you said
yeah,
that. The
that was
crap
I
that
like
the
your
beautiful stuff
tapestry
grows out of.
image.
Yeah. But what you said was also very powerful, right? It's the crap that all the beautiful stuff grows out of,
Right.
right? Like, yeah, literally. Anyway, I love Okay, so we
Um,
did kind of touch on some of them, but specifically, do you have any like what strengths or were developed or lessons were born from those seasons of hardships that you walked through? I think you meant, well, yeah, I'll let you go ahead and talk. I don't want to say what you're going to say, but yeah, what were kind of some of the specific things that you saw grow in you walking through
mm.
some of those hardships?
So I always thought I was resilient because I could pull up my big girl panties and
Mm-hmm.
keep going, right?
Tough it through. Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
that is not what resilience is. That is what creates anxiety, overwhelm, burnout, and definitely not living a fulfilled, iconic life, right?
Yeah.
And so what I started to learn is that going back, looking at these things, getting curious is what helps you to make different choices, right? So when we are trying to avoid something, we go into a fight or flight mode, and our nervous system gets very chaotic, and our mind gets very chaotic, and we are not thinking consciously. We're just, what is it that we grew up in? What's the same thing? We keep doing the same thing over and over, even though we want different results. And so he started showing me that you actually have to choose something different. And it doesn't
Mm.
even matter if it's the right thing. It's the fact that you choose to do something different. You're breaking a cycle in your brain.
Yes.
Like you're rewiring your neural pathways to say there
Yes.
are other ways that I could respond, or this is I could try something new here. Um, and so I had to stop worrying about being a failure, what people thought about me, and all of these things. God just started showing me how they were keeping me stuck,
Mm.
and that I needed to be able to let go of them. And that could be, maybe there's forgiveness because it's rooted in something from my childhood that I need to make peace with in order to let it go. But I need to let it go because it's holding me back. And I want to get unstuck.
Yeah.
And then when we make those different choices, just evaluating it. Like, do I feel better? Did it get me where I wanted to go? And so seeing it as not a success or failure, that it's
Right.
information. Like I'm
Right.
learning from these different things. And what I also learned was I needed to learn how to help my nervous system to be regulated.
Yeah.
So that was a whole exciting journey where I was like, oh my goodness, you can actually calm your body, you can calm your mind, you can take deep breaths. Like, so I started just learning all of these other skills that I didn't get growing up.
Yeah.
Um, and I also learned how to do spiritual warfare because we are battling not against flesh and blood, the people around us, our spouse, our job, our all of these things. Because if we start blaming everybody else, we're outsourcing our power.
Yeah.
And so by seeing that I have a choice means I have power. I can decide if I want to do this or not. I'm not the victim of someone else. I can change jobs if I want to. I can do these different things. And as I just got more and more intentional of aligning with what felt most authentic to me, um, and who God created me to be, it was like, wow, life started to even life is still hard, but I feel so much more free.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you're an active participant in this instead of just like a passive victim of it, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so I've already told some of the practices and things you've done. I love like that whole like the somatic practices and recalibrating your nervous system. That was really powerful for me as well because think I think for a lot of us, we are in our society, maybe we were raised in the other side, right? Like having to like you said, shoving down the emotions, all the things, like the very
Mhm.
masculine side of it, right? When I feel like the more feminine side is a little bit more of that somatics and like being able to like work through those kind of things
Nurturing.
physically. Yeah, exactly. And there's a reason we need both, right? And
Mhm.
so learning that aspect of it was eye-opening for me and life-changing, right? Like how to knowing the techniques and the tools to like help your body to get out of fight and flight and get into a place of um relaxation but also curiosity and not like you said just being an observer, right? Of what's
Mhm.
going on and how powerful that was for me in shifting things in a real way that lasted.
Mhm.
So yeah, I love that you share that. So on your day-to-day living your iconic life, what does that look for you right now? And like your day-to-day, what do you choose to do? What are maybe some like values that are important to you or practices that you do on a routine basis that kind of keep you anchored in that choosing that iconic life for you?
Well, it's been a really interesting shift from being the perfectionist, people pleaser, high achiever, um, to being able to say, okay, God, what am I doing today?
Mm,
What
mhm.
is on my to do list? Because I have hundreds of things on my list to do with all of the different opportunities God's given me. So, what am I supposed to do today? And letting go of the control of my day to day has been crazy hard and crazy amazing because
Mm,
what has happened is that when I go to Him and I let Him help me set my schedule, I step into obedience. And I've been really working on radical obedience. Like when God says to do something, that I don't sit around and strategize or how am I going to do this? Because I've, like I said, been in business and marketing and all of that. I can sit and build an amazing marketing plan. But then I'm like tired and overwhelmed because I have like 50 things that I'm doing. And he's like, if I tell you to do it, I've already ran the marketing strategy. I've already ran the plan. Like, I just need you to take the next step and be obedient. And
mhm.
so it's scary and freeing. But I think it like puts us in the right posture because all of this is really not about us.
Yeah.
I am in and of myself incapable, unqualified, and yet he chooses to use me. And so when I can submit my ways, my will, and surrender to whatever it is he asks me to do, it always turns out way better than I could ever imagine. And he's like, yeah, I know. I'm the God
Surprise.
of the universe. I know how everything connects and how everything relates. And so for me right now, it's just being radically obedient because I know that as soon as 1 second pass, and if I start doubting or thinking through something, then it just delays.
Mm,
And I don't want to delay anything anymore. I just want to keep going next level, like
yeah.
doing whatever it is he has me
Keep
to do that
expanding, keep
day.
stepping up.
Mhm.
Yeah, I hear that. I love that. So, okay, Megan, I know that obviously you've chosen to not just live differently in the day to day, right? That's some radical obedience, like you said. I love that. But you're also leading differently, right? And obviously, you mentioned like you have the book that you just wrote, and you have your the It's Your Story to Tell coaching group, and all the different things that you are doing, right? But maybe share with us a little bit. What ripples are you seeing, or are you most
Mm.
proud of creating? Are you in your family, in your community, in your work? Like, what are you seeing there, and how do you see your calling or your work evolving in this next
Mm.
season that you know right now? Because obviously that could change. We know this, right? Because like you said, open door to what God is doing. But what do you see in this next phase of what's going on now?
So it's even what I'm writing about in my next book, but it's when we do our own work and heal, we lead from a place of healing and wholeness. And when
Mm,
we are able to regulate our nervous system, people want to be around you. People are drawn to you. Because if you go back to childhood, the design was that parents could co regulate children. I was not a good co regulator because I was not regulated, right? And so, as I've learned how to regulate and uh, have a different presence about me, because you've probably know someone, you're like, oh my gosh, they walk into the room and it's like you feel their anxiety, you feel
mm,
their energy. And I've really been working on becoming a sacred presence, something that is so inviting and welcoming and nurturing and loving of people of all different types that have different beliefs than me. Because, excuse me, my goal is to be loved. That's what God said our mission is to love God and love people. But if you can't love yourself,
mm.
you can't give that out. And so my mission is to freely give what he's given me. And so I have watched how, as I've transformed, I've seen my children's transformations. One of my absolute favorite podcast episodes is podcast number 2 on It's Your Story to Tell, where I did it with my son. He was 21 at the
Yes.
time,
Yes.
23 now, engaged, has his own business. And we talked about how hurt people, but heal people. And so, what
Mm,
I love about the work that I get to do and the stories that I get to share on my podcast is that we're encouraging the conversation to talk about the hurt, but not to get stuck there in victimization so
right.
that we can move forward. And then we get to be the change. We get to show other people how to do this. We get to come alongside of each other. And so I lead group courses in how to become a sacred presence and help sit with people in really hard things because our world needs that.
Hmm.
And so I'm just seeing how God is using the work he did in me. And we were talking about this before we got on. Like, God will do something and show me something, and then he'll say, okay, that's your next course. Okay, that's your next book club. Okay, that's your next thing. And it's because I needed to do the work. And
Yeah.
so a true leader does the work and then goes from a place of wholeness and having done it for themselves versus someone who just says do this, but their life doesn't add up to
Yeah.
that. And we know those type of people that are around us, and we're uncomfortable with it because you can't trust people
It's
who
not
say one
authentic.
thing and do another, and it's not
Right.
authentic. So that is
Exactly.
where God has taken me, to the person who hid behind all the mask and wanted people to think that I had it all together and I was super successful. And from the outside, that is what it looked like. From the inside, I was a dumpster fire. And so if you're in that like dark place where you're on the floor crying, I've been there, and it wasn't that long ago. It
Mm.
was, 9 years ago. And God has totally transformed my life to where I'm able to walk alongside others. So just know that breaking point, it could be the miracle that you
Yes.
needed in your life to be able to say, okay, God, I will do anything.
Yeah.
And then when he's invited, because you have your free will, and if you say, I will do anything, help me, he's going to show up and he's going to walk you through it. You just have to keep asking him the questions.
Exactly. That breakdown, that breaking point can be your breakthrough point, right?
Mhm.
I think I know in my life, the most broken moments I've had have also been the pivot for the most amazing things that God has done in my life, right? Because I allowed him to do it. I didn't stay stuck. I was open to him working in it because there is a choice. We have a choice, right? We can
Mhm.
choose what we want to make of it. But I chose to like allow God to work through these hardships in my life. And that's the most precious times I have with him, right? Is through those hard times. So yeah, I love that. All right. So one last question for you. For someone who is listening today, who maybe is feeling that tug that they're supposed to be doing something different, something more, that divine dream that's placed within their heart that they've been shutting the door, but it's getting louder. So they haven't yet stepped into their iconic life that God has for them.
Mhm.
What is maybe one truth that you want them to hold on to, and maybe one small brave step that you would challenge them to take today?
Well, first, I want you to believe that that longing is your future. It can be what you live
Mm,
if you're willing to do something different. And so, no matter where you're at, one brave step is just to say, I believe that that dream I have is my calling. Write that down in as
mm,
much language, and what does it look like, feel like, all of your different
Specificity.
senses
Yeah. Uh-huh.
so that you have more and more clarity. And it's going to keep growing as you start visualizing it, as you start, right? Because you want to stop saying that's not possible. That's not for me. That I'm too tired. I can't make that happen, right? Because your words are powerful. The entire universe, including us, was spoken into existence. So your words are creating your reality. So you have a dream and then you have your words. So where do they not match up?
Mm,
Start changing your language,
yeah.
right? Start taking those thoughts captive and speaking life over them because when I started my journey, I did not believe I was good enough, worthy, smart enough, pretty enough. You name it. I was the most critical person about
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
But as I started to change my language, I started to like myself. Then I started to love myself. Then I started to value myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the beginning, I didn't believe it. They were just words. But the really interesting thing about neuroscience is whatever you're speaking, it's what you believe, right?
Yep.
And so you can change that as you change your words. You can change your belief. You can change
So
your life,
powerful.
and it can be iconic.
Yes, absolutely. Ah, I love that. We have the ability to co-create. Like it's such a I say that often, but it's such a powerful thing. Like when you stop to think about it, right? Because he's like, oh, it's just our word. No, our words, life and death are in the power of the tongue, right? Like it's so amazing. And it's because we have been given that characteristic of our creator, of God, right?
Mhm.
We get to create along with him. And that's super powerful because you get to create what you're creating, right? Either life or death. Which one are you going to choose? Choose the
Right. And
thing.
that's really powerful when you realize, I don't like my life. Oh, I'm
Uh-huh.
creating my life.
Yes. Take radical responsibility
Personal
for,
responsibility. Yes.
uh-huh. Yep. That is one of the tenets of my things is take radical responsibility. It is not about anybody else, right? Yeah, it's
Mhm.
so powerful. Um, and it's so exciting though. It's not just like, oh, that's scary, like, or I had to feel bad because I've created this life that I absolutely hate and it's my fault. No, it's not about that, right? It's about, oh my gosh,
Mhm.
do you see the power and the possibility that is available
Yes.
to you, that God is offering
Mhm.
to you if you decide to step into your calling that He has placed on you? And I say this a lot too, is like we are truly limitless when we're walking in
Yes.
our calling that He has placed us in because that's what he's put into us, right? Like, and that is exciting. Like that just takes your breath away, right? And you're like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, because there's no limit. God can do anything, right? There's no
Yeah.
impossible. So
Exactly. Nothing is
it's
impossible with
so
him.
exciting.
Yep, that's the, book that I'm writing, and I'm still been going around and around, but because it's unstuck, and I'm thinking it's gonna be unlimited, or
Mm,
unstoppable because
yeah,
we we know no bounds. Like, we are created in his image. It's
yeah,
only us that gets in the way
yep,
of
yep,
anything.
yeah. I have a course actually called The Unstoppable Woman because of that. And it's so powerful. And I'm like, that is one of my passions and missions is to like let other women know and men too, right? But like I'm called at this point to work with mainly women. But yeah, like let you know the truth, right? The truth shall set us free. And that is like
Mm,
however God wants to use that, the words that are coming to me, that is my prayers. I can be a conduit for his work, his words that are coming through because he has there's so much work that needs to be done, and he has a calling on each one of us, right? And we all need to be doing our work. Oh my goodness.
yes.
Anyway, Megan, we could go on and on and on. I love
Yes.
this conversation, and I'm so excited about your book that's coming out. Um, so a couple fun questions just to wrap up here. Um, what is maybe a favorite drink or food that you enjoy?
Mm, well, my favorite food is Mexican food.
Ah, yeah, yum. Me
I
too.
really think I was born in the wrong place in the world, and I could eat it every day.
Yeah. That's a good choice. I love that. Are you a tea drinker or a coffee drinker, or what do you do? Do you have a drink of choice
I
like
am
that?
a coffee drinker, but I drink coffee in the morning. If I were to have something later in the day, I would do like a tea.
Yeah,
Um,
get
but
me
I
buzzing all
do like
night.
my coffee every morning. Can't really
Yeah.
start my day without it.
I'm an Americano girl. We definitely make
Mm,
those. Yeah. I was like, I'm a little bougie with my coffee. Yes, I am. Thank you very much.
yeah,
Life is too
I
short
mean,
for
it's
bad coffee. What is this?
exactly. It's how's your day gonna start? It's
Right,
how good is my
exactly.
coffee in the morning?
All right. So how about a dream vacation spot that you have on your bucket list, or maybe even
Mm.
coming up if it's already planned?
So, a dream vacation place is Greece.
Hmm.
And we are planning it. We have been
Yay.
it got delayed a little bit for some family things, but my not just because it's absolutely gorgeous, but my husband's bone marrow transplant donor is from
Okay.
Greece. So
Gotcha.
we are going to get to go and meet her.
That's so
We're
special.
coming up in just a few days, like 6, 7 days. It'll be 6 years since he had his bone marrow transplant. So,
Wow. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that'd be really special. Yeah. That's cool. I love that. All right. And then lastly, what is maybe one book or podcast that you are currently reading or have recently read, or something that you would recommend to a friend right now?
So I love anything pretty much Brene Brown
Mm-hmm.
for this journey, but the power of vulnerability is amazing. And when you can start being vulnerable, it unlocks yourself, but it also connects you with people, and we're all need that.
Yeah.
So I would definitely recommend that one. I
Love it.
also am getting ready in order to help people prepare for their next year. Crazy that we're like getting into that season
The end of
where
the year.
we
Yeah.
have like 1/4 left of the year before,
So
um,
crazy.
but like don't wait till the beginning of the year. So I'm going to do a free book club on a book that's called Go Slow to Grow Fast.
Hmm.
Because I know me, I like things to like happen. But again, it's in that surrendered place, that willingness to just sit with things sometimes and before you just start going. And I love that. It was a major lesson for me to learn that. And it's the thing that God's really talking to me about in this
Awesome.
season is to go slow, to go fast.
I love that. Okay. All right, Megan, where can everybody find you? If they want to reach out, contact you, where's the best place to find you?
The best place is itsyourstorytotell.com.
Hmm.
And you will find my social media. You'll find other coaches alongside of me, including Hannah. You get to see her story and learn a little bit more about her for my audience to get to know you, Hannah. It's so awesome.
Yes.
But you can get lots of free resources too. I have a whole freebie section with book studies and Bible study guides and workshops and quizzes and
Awesome.
things like that. So that if you're like, where could I start? There's
Mm,
an opportunity for you to just kind of dip your toe in the water and see what
love it.
might happen.
And then also your podcast, It's Your Story to Tell. Yeah. There's amazing stories on there as well. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah,
And then,
you
of
can
course,
get
your
to it on the
book
website and then on my
and
book. Yeah,
stuff.
you can
Yeah.
get to my book there as well. But if you just search in Amazon Unstuck, Megan Babcock, it will pull it up and you can get it free if you have Kindle Unlimited, and it's like 99 cents right now. So it will walk you through the process that God took me through
Awesome.
to have the breakthrough and build the life that I love.
I love it. All right. Thank you so much, Megan, for coming today and sharing your heart and your vision and your passion with us. It's been good. And I'm excited for what God's doing next in your life and how we're going to continue to work together. I know there's going to be some amazing things coming up. So I'm super excited about that. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in with us today. Remember, every choice you make leaves a mark, so make them wisely. Your most iconic life is not waiting out there somewhere someday for you to choose sometime. It's the one that you are choosing and creating from the right now, this present moment. So keep choosing with intention, keep choosing truth, keep choosing joy. And if today's conversation stirred something in you, please let us know, reach out. We'd love to hear feedback from you guys, but share this with a friend, leave us a review, and help us spread this movement of women and men who are living, leading, and loving lives that they are creating, those iconic lives that they're creating. And we will see you back here next time.
Thanks so much.